Ask yourself a question. How many times do you think you've seen the globe in your lifetime? In a year? In a single day? In how many of those countless instances were you looking at something that was even claiming to be a legitimate photo of the Earth? And how many were merely images, representations, paintings, sculptures, or even corporate logos? It is common knowledge that almost everyone was first introduced to the globe in kindergarten, where it sits dutifully in the corner of the classroom. But it doesn't stop with what we are shown in classrooms and in textbooks. It continues on, day after day, for the rest of our lives. Depictions of the globe being implanted into our collective subconscious from a plethora of angles, from advertising, news, entertainment, and art. Arguably beyond any other idea or concept, the image of the globe is so thoroughly projected into our collective subconscious that it quickly becomes the epitome of the unquestionable. Human pride being what it is, it makes it virtually impossible for most people to consider the outlandish idea that such a thing could actually be a shared delusion on such a massive scale.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. That challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. One we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin. Neil?
It was our pleasure to have participated in one great adventure. It's an adventure that took place not just in the month of July, but rather one that took place in the last decade. We all here and the people listening in today had the opportunity to share that adventure over its developing and unfolding in the past months and years. It's our privilege today to share with you some of the details of that final month of July that was certainly the highlight for the three of us of that decade. We're going to divert a little bit from the format of past press conferences and talk about the things that interested us most, in particular the things that occurred on and about the moon. We will use a number of films and slides which most of you have already seen, and with the intent of pointing out some of the things that we observed on the spot which may not be obvious to those of you who are looking at them here from the surface of Earth. The flight, as you know, started promptly. And I think that was characteristic of all the events of the flight. The Saturn gave us one magnificent ride, both into Earth orbit and on a trajectory to the moon. Our memory of that actually differs little from the reports that you have all heard from those previous Saturn V flights, and the previous flights served us well in preparation for this flight in the boost as well as the subsequent phases. We would like to skip directly to the translunar coast phase and remind ourselves of the long chain of events that actually permitted a landing, starting with the undockings, the transposition and docking sequence.
I don't believe this story, but I'm going to tell you it. Apparently, WikiLeaks documents are revealing the Apollo program was a fraud. The moon landings never happened. Never happened. Never happened. Never happened. Never happened. Never happened. According to new documents scheduled to be released this week by Julian Assange, founder of WikiLeaks, they could reveal damaging information about NASA's Apollo program. Assange, who has lived at Ecuador's London embassy since June of 2012 in fear of being extradited to the United States to face espionage and conspiracy charges arising from leaking thousands of secret diplomatic and military documents, claims that he has had evidence and documents given to him by a government worker that shows that the Apollo program really never set foot on the moon. The Documents are said to have been handed to the WikiLeaks founder by a retired high-ranking official of NASA that has worked within the government for more than 45 years, according to Assange. Top officials, by the way, of the Chinese space program last year accused the government of the United States of faking the moon landings after the Chinese lunar rover found no evidence, they said, of the Apollo program moon landings after investigating the same area where the Apollo 11 mission landed on July 20th, 1969. This will be an interesting story. I believe, and I'm convinced that we've landed on the moon. But we shall see what happens with this.
They built their careers on this, and it would be admitting a major mistake.
Never happened.
I understand that some believe that we should attempt a return to the surface of the moon first, as previously planned. But I just have to say, pretty bluntly here, we've been there before.
Never happened.
Whoa, what is going on here?
With little kids staring wide-eyed at the Saturn V glowing in the huge xenon spotlights 15 miles away.
Never happened.
Oh, I don't know. Fucking the moon landings happened, and it's nonsense. It's like saying, was America ever discovered? Yes. Did we go to the moon? Yes. That's the end. There's no information, content, or use in the moon. Well, first of all, I don't even accept that needs proving, because you've got to be a complete moron.
Always question the scientists and their foundations.
The astronauts of Apollo 11 awoke early today and began their ritual-like preparations for this blast off to the moon.
Never happened.
We're going to divert a little bit from the format of past press conferences and talk about the things that
never happened.
That is controversial because anyone in the standard cosmology community would not even entertain such a notion.
Are you really suggesting in this program, the scientific documentary program about gravity, you're going to even mention the words, could it have been true that the moon landings were fakes?
If you were paranoid, you'd say there's a conspiracy.
They have nowhere to go. It's the moment of truth for science.
I just see it as a beginning, not just this flight, but in this program, which has really been a very short piece of human history, an instant in history.
Never happened.
If a pilot is flying around the curve of the Earth, then he should be dipping the nose down every 5 minutes. He should be dipping the nose down to stay around the curve. That's absolute proof that a plane flies over a flat surface rather than a curved one. A lot of people have these laser thermometers. Now, you can actually measure the temperature of the moonlight next to the temperature of the shade of the moonlight, and you'll find the moonlight is colder than the shade opposite from the sun. So the moon's throwing out its own light. The scientific community have not told us this.
Mainstream science says that we can see the curve visible at 35,000 feet, but when we're watching an amateur balloon flight without a fisheye lens or a wide-angle lens on it, there is no curve to be seen. And basically, if we were living on a ball or a sphere of any sort, no matter how high you rise, you would have to look down to see the horizon. Yet when you take these cameras to 100,000 feet, the horizon is still at eye level. That's inconsistent with any kind of spherical shape whatsoever.
The They've got smaller gatekeepers for the flat earth that they've brought in to distort the message, and they give fake flat earth arguments, hoping that you'll reach them before you reach someone like me, and then you'll hear their stupid arguments saying that gravity's real, but the flat earth disk is constantly rising, and that's what causes us to, things to fall. They'll give explanations like this, which to any sound thinking person will totally reject, and then they'll totally reject the entire flat earth model based on these little bits of disinformation that are being given. 200 proofs Earth is not a spinning ball, and that's just 200. I came up with 200 because William Carpenter came up with 100 in the 1800s, and I wanted to double it. I could come up with 400 if you give me enough time and incentive. People are doing it right now.
Scientists vote that the Earth is flat.
Because of actual, observable, testable, repeatable, natural science that we can do ourselves. The kind of science, in quotes, that you're getting from these figureheads is not observable, testable, repeatable, natural science that you can do yourself. It's stuff that they claim that only they can do with a Hubble telescope. Only we can take images, CGI images of fake planets with our Hubble telescope. You can't. Condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance. And I think that, Einstein was right about that. I don't believe in anything, but I do investigate everything. I don't just take things at face value or take somebody's word for it. I want to know for myself. And if I can't know for myself, then I will happily be in the place of not knowing. They need to have some authority figure telling them answers, and they're going to believe that, and that makes them feel safe. But me, I'm the opposite, where I like to be skeptical, and I think everybody would be better off if they did that instead of just believing some authority figure that tells you you're on a spinning ball that was exploded out of a big bang and you're a monkey man that evolved. It's ridiculous, and it's obvious why they're doing it. They want you to think you're a monkey, a purposeless accident that comes from nothing. Think about it, while they steal $50 million of your tax money every day. The motive is obvious. CGI images of fake planets with our Hubble telescope. But you can take a regular telescope, and you can see that the images they give you are complete nonsense, cartoons, and what it actually looks like is pulsating lights in the sky.
Okay, that star is 700,000 light years away from that constellation. I was all into that. I was totally into it. I was super into anything space. Are you kidding? The Science Channel?
Oh my God, you had me. You had me so good.
With the CGI, with all those CGI DVDs. All those DVDs, BBC Nova, were floating in space, spinning around the sun, and the sun has got some gravitational pull on us, and we got the gravitational pull on the moon. That doesn't make sense. That's not science to me. When people talk about science this, science that, I go, explain to me how that is science. There's a force that's holding oceans, keeping it from spinning and flying off because it's spinning 1,000 miles an hour. But as soon as we get to a certain altitude, it's all magic. It's not science. All that's magic. Us floating in space, and we're being connected to the sun. It has this force that's connected. That seems crazy. And we're flying through the universe, and the universe is endless. Like people say, well, if the Earth is flat, where's the edge? Like, where's the edge of this motherfucking universe?
We're the center of the world.
Understanding what reality is very, very important to me. I think it should be important to everybody. And I think the more that people become perhaps what they call spiritually aware or awake, they're starting to see through things and how things have been manipulated and reality's been created for them.
If God forbid everybody came and started demanding answers, and once they can't provide those answers, people realize they are busted. It can't be a mistake. It can't be anything but the deception and control mechanism it is. Because people are waking up. And no matter how much they try to suppress this flat earth movement, it's gonna keep moving one way or another. You can see it. People are waking up. So now, louder than ever, I can hear that clock. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock.
world is round, not flat?
A strange message on Mount Rubidoux. The words Google Flat Earth were found carved into the riverside hill in letters that were 10 feet long. Police talked to the person who did it. He's not facing charges yet. One possible explanation of the message: some still believe the world is flat, not round, and post about it online.
So you can check with theodolites and telescopes and different methods, lasers, to see if the Earth actually does have that curvature. And it's been tested over and over again and found to have no curvature whatsoever. So I mean, even if they had the number wrong and it was 100,000 miles in circumference, there would still be a calculable, measurable curvature that just isn't there. The only place curvature exists is in NASA photos and videos, and those can be proven to be CGI fakes. And the early ones were literally taken through a round window to make the Earth appear round. Literally taken through a round window to make the Earth appear round.
Oh, this is a shot from 130,000 miles out. I guess it's from approaching. It's from approaching the moon, looking back at the Earth. If that's the Earth, is that like another spacecraft?
No. But I have no idea what that is. It's some aberration on the film of some sort. Oh, those are shadows, I think. Or reflections, probably reflections that are just reflecting.
Run that back again so we get another shot of it.
Okay, turn off the camera. Your interview is done. I've given you all the time I'm going to give you.
Okie dokie. Good to meet you.
I don't say it's a pleasure.
Understand.
Please get your ass out of my house.
Okay.
And you came here under false pretenses, and I think you're an asshole.
Lying about going to the moon is a satanic lie of gigantic proportions.
I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you get...
I'm heading out. I appreciate it.
And get the hell out of my house. You'll get a gun and shoot them at them before they get out of the office?
We have a video camera running if you want to do it.
Right.
That would be great footage for us. See you later. In court, I hope.
Want to call the CIA? Have them whacked?
Where you put a transparency over the window and move the camera of the Earth and move the camera back away from the window. Turn off the lights in the spacecraft and appeared to be halfway to the moon when in fact they were in Earth orbit.
Huh, really?
Yeah, and they said it was the same way that you did it on Apollo 10. So we wanted to give you the opportunity to put your left hand on the Bible, to raise your right hand, to swear to God.
Stick it in your ear.
If you walked on the moon, we're giving the opportunity to swear to God that you walked on the moon.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the hell knocked out of you if you don't leave me alone.
We found a very unique reel of footage that we have queued up to show you.
Yeah.
And it's from the mission. And to our knowledge, no one has ever seen it before. And it's 30 years old.
And you want me to see this while you have me on camera?
Well, and to tell us what it is. That's correct. And you'll see this tape proves that.
Okay, well, I'm not interested in satisfying your suppositions when there's all this evidence that we did.
This proves, as you see, that you were using the window to demonstrate that you were halfway to the moon when you were
Turn the camera off, please. Turn the camera off. Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. Why don't you talk to the administrator in NASA? We're passengers. We're guys going on a flight.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief. Did you see shooting stars?
Did
you see the shooting stars?
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of noise going on.
So I don't know the results of some of the experiments they've conducted. The point is they can't get that far from here, and they're really in the protective confines of the Earth. They're really in the protective confines of the Earth. They're really in the protective confines of the Earth.
International space crew attempted a spacewalk outside the station. Here's a live look at the astronauts. Well, I don't believe. I don't think that's. Yeah,
Where's their space?
So this is photo trickery and brainwashing that's got the world thinking that we're on a ball spinning around the sun with a magical force called gravity holding us on the underside of this spinning ball. It's all just brainwashing that we've received. It's pseudoscience accepted as legit science. But real science has confirmed geocentricity in the flat Earth. Flat Earth. Flat Earth. The best way to brainwash the whole world, to lie to the whole world about what the world is. In reality, we're not a cosmic accidental sneeze, nothingness turned everything. This is quite obviously intelligently designed, this thing we're experiencing here, this life, this universe. I can't believe anyone in their right mind can look me in the eyes with a straight face and say, no man, it's all random.
Be open-minded about this. This is very, very controversial and difficult to get your head round. The first of which is the scientific method, something that the scientific community doesn't seem to use these days. But the scientific method is where a theory or opinion is put forward that matches what we observe. The other thing we have to accept is how easily our minds, once they've been programmed or given a world view, how easily those minds can be fooled.
I used to dream, I used to glance beyond the stars. Now I don't know where we are, although I know we're drifting by.
The Earth isn't spinning or orbiting or being dragged. The Earth is fixed, and it's the stars that are moving.
People can't stand change. They don't like what they don't understand. We all have our own pursuit of happiness. Don't listen to someone's story, then say, and what? You need more? Is their happiness not good enough for you? So you judge them like you know. True happiness brings happiness to others. We are all a family, separate family trees connected at the roots. We are intelligent beings with a mind, body, and soul who truly want world peace. At least that's my goal. What happened to love? All I see is hate. The way we treat others on earth, death and chaos is our only fate. Every living thing has value and should be treated as such. We only have one earth, but act like we have so much. Do you not realize we are in control, not the 2%, who so-called own the world because it was money well spent? When there is no food, will you eat the money? When there is nothing left, will you still think this is funny? Remember, I warned you. I hope I opened your eyes so the world really gets better before it's too late to realize. Please spread the word. Please spread the word. Please spread the word. Please spread the word.
There are many reasons why I believe the topic of cosmology and a flat Earth matters. It destroys the false theory of evolution. It points people to a creator. It reveals that the Bible is literally true in a sense that, honestly, most if not all of us did not previously realize. But beyond all this, the revelation and rediscovery of the original biblical cosmology in current times, these last days, serves another very interesting purpose, I believe. A very poignant and powerful eschatological purpose. Because unlike virtually all other modern attempts to defend creationism, debunk evolution, or expose the satanic deceptions of this fallen worldly system, the difference here is that it takes you all the way back to square one. All the way back to questioning practically everything you were taught in your government-backed education. Questioning everything you grew up being programmed to believe through the television. Questioning almost everything you thought you knew about the cosmos and the history of mankind. But the thing that increasingly fascinates me about the Flat Earth issue is how it provokes such a violent reaction in people. Not just people who are atheists and evolutionists, but from Christians. And not just any Christians, but even Christians who specialize in teaching on eschatology and researching Bible prophecy. Christian teachers whose entire ministries, whose entire careers basically, have in many regards centered around warning people about the mark of the beast system, which the Bible prophesies about in the book of Revelation, and we can see being rapidly constructed all around us right now. They talk about the mark of the beast, how it might actually be connected to Genesis 6 and have some genetic component, the transhumanist agenda, the alien deception, UFOs, underground government hybrid programs, the technological singularity, artificial intelligence, and on and on and on. But at the end of the day, no matter how compelling much of this research and its possible connections to the coming beast system might be, the ultimate takeaway is still the same. The practical implications for us are still incredibly simple and unchanging. Don't take the mark. Even Christians who were living in the first century, the days of the early church, who read those words shortly after John the Revelator penned them, they were able to comprehend that much, despite how far in the future the fulfillment of those words might still have been. But this is what is so strange, so incomprehensible when it comes to so many of our alleged watchmen on the wall today, these harbingers of prophetic fulfillment in these final perilous days. They write books and make DVDs and give lectures talking about almost every conceivable conspiratorial topic, from pyramids on Mars to the Hollow Earth to the Pope's statements about aliens, trying to decipher it all through the lens of Bible prophecy. But when it comes to the idea that the Earth could be flat, stationary, and enclosed within a firmament, just as the Bible describes, and as they all admit the ancient Hebrew authors of the Bible all believed, suddenly that topic is crazy, considered pure madness, declared as unscientific, and written off as foolishness. Suddenly, the men and women who supposedly are on the cutting edge of discerning the signs of the times and avoiding the pitfalls of what the Bible calls the Great Deception, they can't fathom the idea that the enemy of men's souls would possibly be able to pull off a lie about something as fundamental as the earth itself or the heavens above. Suddenly we see them resorting to the same mockery that atheists aim at creationism. We see them appealing to the wisdom of this fallen and deceived world to try and justify themselves. And suddenly, in all of this clamor and division and controversy, we see something being revealed that we did not quite appreciate before. We start to see just how deep this idolatrous relationship goes between the modern Christian church and the satanic systems of this world. We realize how in so many ways we've continued to try to point to the Bible as the source of inspired truth, but at the same time try to find some way to make it agree with and validated by human wisdom. And just like touching a raw exposed nerve, the flat earth controversy cuts deep at this idolatry and pokes it right at its most sensitive point. And this is how I see this last day's realization, this end times rediscovery, as being a true gift from above, even if most of the church is too stubborn to accept it. Because truly, if you are too afraid to even honestly investigate something right now, even while the world teaches that it's sheer idiocy, that it's absolutely insane and something to be ridiculed and scorned, then how on earth do you seriously think you are going to fare when it finally does come time to make the decision to effectively walk away from every luxury of the civilized modern world in order to refuse to take the mark of the beast? What good will all your research about transhumanism and microchips and genetic hybrids and everything else be if you can't even handle being ridiculed for believing the Bible over the opinions of men? Because when those days finally do come, do you not realize that being mocked or looking stupid in the eyes of the world will be the very least of what you will have to endure in order to not compromise your very soul? Do you not think it will be regarded as the utmost insanity to even consider opting out of the Antichrist's promises of a technological utopia? Do you not think that you will have to resist the pleas of your own family members to just be sensible and do what you need to do to survive? Do you not know that you will face scorn of entire church congregations and pastors who will have chosen to join the system rather than close their doors? Do you not realize that you will have to live by faith in a way that you and I have never really had to do for our entire comfortable modern lives? Relying on God alone to provide our basic needs, not knowing where the next meal might come from, not being able to get a paying job, not being able to buy or sell. Do you not understand that most of the people you know will think you are absolutely mad, that you've turned into some fundamentalist religious quack, if you actually leave all the conveniences of modern living behind, simply because you won't just take some little mark? Why do you suppose that you will stand firm in the faith against all the pressures of that system, against all the ridicule, against all the hatred, against being treated like a terrorist and a criminal, even to stand in the face of your life being taken from you if you do not renounce Christ? If already, right now, you are too afraid of looking stupid.